How many of you watch Marvel movies? Is it just me, or have all the recent films had themes that revolved around the importance of family? Maybe because the target audience is around my age, so we're either starting to have family of our own, or at least thinking about it. Or maybe it's not just superhero films. Maybe I'm just the group that's thinking about it, so these themes are becoming more obvious to me. Either way, the idea of being a father has slowly been creeping up the back of my mind. But it's not just being a dad, it's making sure that I'm the best dad that I can be. And to me, that includes being there immediately after the child is born. We all know that maternity leave is a thing, but what about fathers and paternity leave? So I looked it up, and I found that globally, it is a thing. Out of 187 countries, 90 offer statutory leave for fathers. However, the country that's relevant to me, the United States, is severely lacking. According to the Families and Work Institute, as many as 20% of companies do not comply with the Family Medical Leave Act for fathers, compared to the 7% for mothers. Also, it's widely accepted and known that mothers receive at least 12 weeks of maternity leave. I assumed that fathers would get, half of that? Nope. The average time off given for fathers is only 1 to 2 weeks. And then given only that short amount of time, they're still reluctant to take that full time off. Now why? Well, one, unfortunately, there's still a stigma regarding men as being the breadwinner of the family, totally disregarding the fact that women are continuing to expand beyond the traditional role of caregiver and having an equally prominent presence in the workforce. And two, fathers are generally fearful of taking the time off as they believe they'll be seen as a lesser worker and being passed over for promotions. Now that mindset is changing, studies are demonstrating how beneficial paternity leave can be for his co-parent, his child, and his employer. So let's do some math. It takes 2 parents to produce a child. It does not make sense that when that child is born, that we primarily put the initial responsibility of raising that child on one parent, the mother. Hasn't she been through enough? So we run into our first problem. By not taking a full paternity leave, it can create a strain on the relationship between the mother and the father. Mom wants to be more than just a parent. Dad wants to be more than just a financial provider. There has to be a balance. So one recent study observed the effect paternity leave had on the quality of the parent's relationship, while also factoring differences in the mother's work status. After surveying around 5,000 couples, results show that overall, paternity leave had a positive effect on the parent's relationship. However, when you factor in the length of the leave, interestingly enough, it was just in the women that there was a positive association found. So it definitely made an impact having that extra hand at home. One other notable finding was that when mothers worked the year prior to having birth, they reported lower levels of relationship conflict compared to mothers who did not work. So again, when each parent is able to take on more than just a single role, there's a less stress between the couple. So paternity leave allows for equality at home and in the workforce. Next, we need to address the benefit that paternity leave has on the bond between the father and the child. Another study observed this by interviewing the children of 1,300 families. Fathers were separated into 3 groups. Those who took no leave, those who took 1 week, and those who took 2 weeks. Then once those children reached about 9 years old, they were asked a set of questions to reflect on the relationship with their father. Again, results were found to be positive, but especially for those who took the full 2 weeks leave. I feel we definitely underestimate what our children absorb when they're younger. In such a short amount of time, there was a very noticeable impact on children as reflected in their reports. Incidentally, this study showed that with fathers who had more time with their children, their enthusiasm for parenthood was palpable, likely leading to the positive impact they had not only on their children, but in the relationship with their co-parent as well. So everyone wins. This includes the workplace. The most common fallacy associated with paternity leave is that if dad stays home, the company essentially loses an employee, which is detrimental to production. But this perspective is ignorant, and I feel very strongly about this because it fails to look at the big picture. What more and more companies are starting to understand is that if you treat your employees well, the return on benefits is exponential. McKinsey & Company, a global management firm, conducted their own study that demonstrates this. In their interviews with fathers, many said that they felt motivated after taking the leave and they would want to work for the organization even longer. It also allowed them a fresh new perspective on their job. It's not just working to pay the bills, now it's working towards something more personal. But again, this outlook was only achieved after being able to have that quality time with the family. When the company encouraged a healthy work-life balance, it creates loyalty and longevity with its employees. So we all know the importance of maternity leave. Now let's stress the importance of paternity leave. Mothers were never meant to raise a child alone. Studies demonstrate that just 2 weeks of paternity leave can significantly improve relationships between the parents as well as with the father and his child. And then those positive relationships end up translating into a more motivated employee at work. So if you're a father and you have the option to take the paternity leave, take it. Take the full leave. And if you're an employer, make sure you give the fathers the same benefits you give mothers, fully supporting their leave and reassuring that there will be no setbacks in their career. Being a hero can be more than just suiting up and stopping the bad guy. It can be staying home with your family and reminding yourself why you even wanted to be a hero in the first place.